Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Today in this video we're going to be looking at Deathtrooper himself. We're going to be looking at his abilities, what he could do and what he's going to bring to the future meta. Deathtrooper, even at 3-star, is arena viable. You can get his protection at gear 11 with some mods of course to around about 50k protection. At 7-star, the Deathtrooper is going to have about 25,382 health, but at 3-star, with a bit of mods on there, you could easily get that between 16 to 18k, and also on top of that, have your 50k protection. This character is in the same bracket as Sharut and Baze, where they are viable at 3 stars onwards. So let's jump in and have a look at Deathtrooper's abilities, and let's discuss some as we go along and theorycraft what they can do on the way. Deathtrooper's basic attack is called Track Down. This deals physical damage to the target enemy with a 70% chance to inflict daze for 3 turns. If the target is already dazed, stun them for 1 turn, and if the target is a rebel, Deathtrooper will attack again. This basic ability can be done with a combination with Darth Maul. This could work where Darth Maul is going to put down his AoE and is going to cause a daze, then Deathtrooper is going to come in, use his basic attack and stun the enemy. So let's look into the more realistic scenario. You're against a rebel team and you use Deathtrooper's basic attack versus, say, Baze for example, because Baze is normally the one with the auto taunt, or you could go against Sharut. But basically what's going to happen if you do land that daze with that first attack, because they're a rebel, he's going to double attack and attack twice. Then his second attack, if daze is applied to that enemy, is then going to stun that rebel. And this attack does have a high variance of damage, especially with some mods, some crit chance. It can do some good damage. Deathtrooper's first special ability is called Deathtrooper Grenade. This has a 4-turn cooldown. This attack deals physical damage to all enemies and dispels all buffs on them with a 70% chance to inflict healing immunity for 2 turns. Enemies who were not buffed have their cooldowns increased by 1. This ability right here is definitely worth it for any Empire team because it's going to be able to now be your Empire Dispeller. But not only that, on top of that, he's going to be an anti-Barriss team with that heal immunity, and he's also going to be increasing cooldowns if those characters were not buffed. So this is definitely a crazy move for any team that you are facing, and he is the ideal character for Empire teams. Deathtrooper's second special ability is called Terminate, and this has a 3-turn cooldown. The attack deals physical damage to the target enemy, and if the target enemy is suffering any debuffs, this attack is guaranteed a critical hit. If there are any defeated enemies, also inflict Deathmark for 2 turns. Targets defeated by Terminate cannot be revived. This ability is definitely a huge counter to Boba Fett. With that Deathmark, if you can apply Deathmark to Boba Fett, he's not going to be able to revive himself because targets defeated by Terminate can't be revived, and I would believe that included in Terminate would be the Deathmark. So even though it's outside of the move that they're killed by the Deathmark, it's still applied by Terminate, which would stop the character, the enemy, being revived. And this is a very big reason why you should be gearing up your Deathtrooper. Even though he is at 3 stars, you're going to need a Deathtrooper to take out a Deathtrooper, especially if he is with Krennic. Deathmark is a very serious debuff. Like in the raids, it does an amount extreme damage, and this is something that you want to be cleansing straight away. If any of your characters get Deathmark, you want to be making sure you're cleansing it off straight away, or that character is going to be gone, and that is it. That will be the end for that character's journey. Deathtrooper also has a unique called Krennic's Guard. This unique is Deathtrooper's Zeta ability, so that's right guys, he does have a Zeta ability, but it is on his unique. Whenever Deathtrooper scores a critical hit, he and Director Krennic recover 15% health. Deathtrooper has a 50% chance to gain 50% turn meter whenever Director Krennic takes damage. If you did go ahead and put those Zetas on this unique, this will then turn into whenever Deathtrooper scores a critical hit, he and Director Krennic recover 20% health. Deathtrooper has a 50% chance to gain 100% turn meter whenever Director Krennic takes damage, and Director Krennic can't be critically hit while Deathtrooper is alive. So with this unique alone, it is definitely going to be beneficial that if you can get your Deathtrooper, so if you do buy Chromium packs, and say if he does go in the Chromium packs, he may be worth the purchase of trying to pull him from those packs, because the more health, the better the heal for this unique ability, and this unique ability also feeds directly to Krennic also. If that wasn't enough, Director Krennic has his own unique ability that also feeds Deathtrooper. Krennic's unique ability is called Immeasurable Power. Director Krennic gains 10% critical damage for each debuffed enemy and 10% critical damage for each rebel enemy. If Deathtrooper is present, he also gains these bonuses. So pretty much in a nutshell, if you are running these two characters together, both of them are going to feed a unique each, giving them 2 uniques, which are very, very powerful and very good towards their characters. So we've gone over the overview of the character, we've gone over the abilities, and it's always the Smithy style to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. So like always, let's start with the good, and the first good of this is he is an Empire character. So he's going to slot right at home in any Empire team. He's not only going to be gaining all that benefits from either a Palpatine lead, a Krennic lead, or even a Darth Vader Zeta lead, he's also going to be benefiting that squad with a Dispeller, something that Empire currently do not have. This character is an anti-rebel, he's an attacking tank. He also has 4 sets of debuffs that he can apply, including Daze, Stun, Heal Immunity, and Deathmark. And if that wasn't enough, he has the ability to reduce cooldowns on the enemy. Deathtrooper gives and receives some amazing synergy with him and Krennic. And most of all, Deathtrooper is very universal. He can be with Krennic, he could be with Krennic within an Empire team, he could be without Krennic, he could be in a non-Empire team, and he is still going to perform just as good. So we've had a look at the good, now let's have a look at the bad, and the bad definitely would be the gearing of Deathtrooper, where he's going to require to get max level is 3 raid gear, 220 gold, and 1420 purple pieces. Included in this is going to be the popular Mark III Cabanti sensor arrays. It's going to require 200 pieces of these Cabantis. On top of that, he's going to require lots of popular gear, so it's not one specific gear like General Kenobi needed a lot of Cabantis, where it was pretty much over double what the Cabantis needed for General Kenobi, but this character requires lots and lots of different gear, and that gear itself is going to be something that you may be putting into another character, you may not, but you definitely want to be checking that out before you start gearing Deathtrooper. Other than the gearing, I can't personally find or fault anything with Deathtrooper. So we've gone over the good, we've gone over the bad, now let's have a look at the ugly. Most of us have the 3-star Deathtrooper, but where can we get him from? Where we'll be able to obtain him after this? The most likely of this is he's going to be a Chromium or payable exclusive, where we're not going to be able to grab his shards from a farmable node. This, in my opinion, would be the ugly about the character, because he's such a great character, but he's not obtainable past the 3-star unless you are willing to go and purchase him from packs. If you was to purchase him from packs, then I am sure that you will not be disappointed. Yes, he is viable at 3-star, but imagine the power of his health at 7-star. There is such a massive difference that you'll be able to then use him in raids. You'll also be able to use him in viable other stages that require Empire 7-star characters. If I was to grade this character, in my book, he would be an A. I would put him at very, very top with the elite characters. He is definitely worth the purchase. He's definitely worth the gearing. He is definitely worth using. So what is your thoughts on Deathtrooper? Do you like him? Are you gearing him? Are you staying away from him? Let me know in the comments below. Once Krennic is obtainable at 4-star, I will have some more videos on Krennic, and I will go through the same method I have done with this video, and also when I've paired them together in some video footage, I will be bringing you the Duo Synergy review. Are you looking forward to the Kylo Ren rework? I certainly am, and I will have footage of him after he has been reworked, and I will put that exclusively onto my channel for you guys to check out. So make sure you are subscribing if you are a new viewer today, so you're not missing out on these great videos. A big massive thank you to both JBig1 and Mace Windu for providing me with this footage to create this video for all my viewers. If you have enjoyed today's video, then please make sure you're using your amazing force powers to hit that like button. I'm the Smithy D, thank you very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.